Welcome to the next episode of We Fixed Real Estate. Today we're going a deep dive into top tips if you're a buyer in the Bay Area. Fred, how are you doing today?
Just great, Drew. How about you?
I've got no complaints. I probably do, but no one wants to hear them. What are we talking today? Oh, it's just water, not watermelon or anything.
The boxed water.
Oh yeah, no, I like the
Oh,
box.
it's blacking out the name.
Why buying boxed water instead of just regular?
It's just easier sometimes. And you don't buy them all the time, but
This thing's a long ways away.
And you pay more for water.
I know that. The water I get coming out of the spigot is I have to pay in the night to do the poor thing with the filter, but I'm getting a new one of those, and I should, have the whole water system redone. But sometimes I'm getting beat up right away.
It's time to turn those tables around. Let's get some positivity in here and give people some insight as to what, as a seasoned real estate professional, what tips do you have? Your top tips for those people navigating the heated Bay Area real estate market?
Yeah, including Silicon Valley, Fremont, even parts of San Francisco, and sometimes the likes of Orinda have bidding wars. We lost one yesterday in Mountain View on a house that hasn't been touched in a number of years from the outside. They didn't even have inside pictures. I mean, this thing was, you're going to rehab it. What was the list price, René? Do you remember? 1,899 or something?
1.9.
Yeah, 1.9. We don't know what it went for, but there were 50 offers in Mountain View. 50. And someone came in and blew their doors in because they had no second round. So, here's a bag of gazillions of dollars of cash, and we want this place. Can't wait to see the comp on that, because that's just going to increase the price of everything. Interest rates mean absolutely nothing, and this is why. If you're you're buying in this neighborhood of these numbers, it's in great school district, great location. That's the combination. So that's what it is. But let's start going through all the stuff of how you can fight the wars. Number one, and I can't stress this enough, and I've stressed this over and over and over and over and over and over again. Do not listen to mortgage people. You need one thing only from your bank approval: a fully underwritten mortgage pre-approval. That means they take your W-2s, your pay stubs, your bank statements, your fourth grade report card, or whatever. They give it to somebody called an underwriter. The underwriter goes through it. They may ask for more stuff, but now you're done. It's done. You're going to have to make a mortgage application anyway. Okay, so there are some companies, and there's some mortgage brokers out there who send their business to some companies that sort of kind of tell you think you may have a fully underwritten mortgage, but you really don't. Read what they give you. And if it just says pre-approval at the top, it's not what it is. It's commitment to lend. This means we're going to give you the money. We've already done our due diligence. So if you listen to me at all, I just keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. But believe it or not, if you want to get into one of these 50 bid psycho warfare or bidding processes, fine. We actually have a layer that goes on top of the fully underwritten mortgage pre-approval. That is, we get you approved with a lender who will close in 10 days, will close for cash, and will tell the seller that if you don't show up with the money, they will buy the house. It's a guarantee to the seller. It's fabulous. Does have a cost. The cost is 1% of the loan amount you take with them, plus $750. And then you pay them at a rate of 9.9% for the time you use the money. But the idea is the day after you close escrow, you go out to whomever you want, refinance their loan as soon as possible. So it's just another way to try to get past everybody else who just has great, fully underwritten pre-approvals from the likes of Wells Fargo, Bank of America, or whomever. So that's what you got to do to get super prepared. We've used this loan. It works. We've won because of it, but it's also about, here's the second thing, and René can talk about this, is your pricing strategy. You got to kind of think about it in the way that we do. We have no idea who's going to show up and what they're going to bid. That's the one thing we can't figure out. Let's skip that and go to the, what I call the crazy stuff. I'll give you that early.
Yeah.
The crazy stuff is, and we'd use this in both Washington State, where it was really prevalent, and back here in California. And that is when you have an offer that you're making where you're waiving everything because everything's done and you're comfortable doing that, and everybody else is, by the way, that we do know. What you might do is you have to give the escrow company 3% of the sale price. Normally, that's what's negotiated. And within 1 day after you agree on the contract. So if it's Monday, you have a signed contract, everybody's happy, then day one is Tuesday. So you have to wire the money to them on Tuesday at the worst. So first of all, here's a little tip. Have the money ready in a bank that you can wire right away. So if you have a Vanguard account and you got to sell some stock, that's going to be a problem because you're not going to get
a predates.
Right. And then you're out in terms of, you're out of the contract, and they can try to push you out. It's very hard, but they could try. So you don't want that to happen. And it's just bad blood between you and the seller. So you want to keep on good terms. So you get that within 1 day, it's all done. But here's the second part of it and the crazy part. As soon as escrow gets the money, authorize escrow to give that money to the seller. He's saying, why? Well, here's the thing. It's non-refundable except that they've committed fraud, but then good luck getting the money back. But the idea is you're waiving the mortgage, you're waiving the inspection, you're waiving the appraisal value, you're waiving everything else. Anyway, if you don't show up for closing, you're going to lose the money anyway. So just give it up. And that really ranks you higher in offers because we work with sellers. So we know the offers that come in, and it's not just price a lot of the time. It's, what are the contingencies? I mean, if you give me a higher price, but you want an appraisal contingency, then I know you're playing games with me because you're just trying to get it under contract, and then you're going to try to keep it going. Even if the appraisal came in low and negotiate lower, and the seller might not want to, leave this contract, but don't play the game with me. Just don't accept an offer like that. Okay. So pricing strategy, rock and roll.
Yeah. So I won't get too detailed in, ethnicities and cultures and all that fun stuff, because I actually need to do a lot more research as to how much I can really speak to without kind of breaking any fair housing laws, right? And I think that's something that's typically really hard for agents to do. Everybody wants to know if it's a good school district or if I should live there, if it's safe. Actually, if it's safe is the biggest point that buyers ask. But agents shouldn't speak about safety. It's something that can lead into, and the reason why is because that can lead into discrimination, redlining, telling people to not live in certain neighborhoods because some ethnicities are there, or because the people are poor, whatever it might be. So in any case, when people price homes, there is always a number 8 at the end of certain homes, because that's, in the messaging and the, Reddit threads that are, kind of in the underworld, it said that if you put an 8 on the listing, it's for good luck for certain cultures to buy, right? So we know that it's not the real number. For the most part, it really isn't ever going to be a real number in the Bay Area. Most of the time, a good listing agent will list the house a little bit under what it should sell. The issue is that in a lot of markets, homes are really listed way below the actual market price. So if a house is 1.988888, it's going to go anywhere between 2.5 to even 3 million, right? The offer that Fred was talking about earlier, I think it's going to go for 2.9. So 300K above the list price. The issue isn't that it's not a huge fixer, in my opinion. It's just a bit outdated, but it's based on outer location, right? The houses in the vicinity are in the $4 million range, right? That are fully renovated. But in any case, there's going to be a lot of markets where there's heavy underpricing. So we always see this in our calls. Don't look at the list price, look at what things sell for. And of course, it's not going to be every house. We're not telling you that every house you're going to have to bid 500,000 above list. But if the house next door sold for 3 million and you see a house that's in the market for 1.9, it's not that it's just a fire sale and that you're going to get a good deal, because there's other buyers, right? Something that our client that made a bid today said was, oh, there's 50 offers. That means that there's 49 other buyers for that one house, which is not good, right? Yeah, that means that, there's other people who were on vacation already for Thanksgiving, which means that maybe there's another 5-10 buyers that are not there. People have just taken a break for November and they're not in the market right now. So there's always going to be a good amount of people looking to purchase, right? And that's the hardest part that the consumer forgets, that it's not just about them, right? It's about everyone else that's also in the market. So that's kind of my answer in that.
That's good advice. Is there anything you would have done differently with that offer that you got one out of the
bros? Let me get cash buyer.
Yeah.
Waiving everything. Didn't do it. Well, he could have given up the escrow money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it sounds like there's just it was an order of magnitude above all the other offers.
Yeah. So I think it was one of those things where the only thing that we could do is be outside the agent's door to make sure that we got a counter of sorts. Because it's when there's 50 offers, you're not responding to anyone. You're just looking at the top two, right? So it's hard to really do something different. I think that for the most part, we did everything right. It was just, I think, a miscalculation and kind of knowing I just determined the market. I'm not expecting 50 offers in any house. It doesn't matter how underpriced it really is. Yeah. Right.
That can be a tip in itself. There's in an ultra competitive market, there's always that unknown thing that's out there that you can't really prepare for, such as some ultra prepared cash offer that just needs to have that house and it's going to outbid everyone no matter what. That isn't always the case, but you need to know that it's there in this market. So we've got fully underwritten pre-approval. What was the second one, Fred? It was
it was in addition to that, getting it, let's call it an interim financing loan.
Oh yeah. Creative ways to get a more attractive offer,
right?
To understand the pricing.
Exactly.
And be prepared.
Giving the deposit to the seller. And what we didn't talk about, a couple of things. Number one are inspections. So here's a story with inspections you have to know. The listing agent in the Bay Area normally gets them done. Probably not in condos, maybe less likely that they're done. But in a single family house, they're usually done. All these guys are licensed, and yes, they can make mistakes. But the thing is, if everybody gets the report and they're comfortable with it, they're just going to bid, like this last one in Mountain Dew. They're just going to bid and, depend on that inspection report. We're playing with one now where the inspection report showed some foundation issues. And so what we do is our buyers say, hey, do you know anything about this foundation issue? We don't. We don't know anything about the house. Don't come to me to fix anything. I'm not your guy. And the listing agent is worthless too. That's not their thing. They don't know these things. So we tell people, call the inspector. Most of the time, we call the inspector, everything's fine. This time, the inspector wanted the permission of the agent, which is fine, and we'll get it. So if that happens, have your agent call the listing agent, and get them to contact the inspector, because you're basing your offer on that inspection. But you want to do a couple of things. And this is case to case, depending on the house and the situation. You're usually going to get a home inspection and a termite. What you're not going to usually get is a roof, especially if it's an old roof. It just predict that you're going to tear it up and put it back and put solar panels on. But the other big thing now is the sewer video. So we tell people, look, if there's enough time and you're really super interested, we can get an inspector to go out. We use a company called Inspectify. And the reason we do is because they're an aggregator of all the inspectors, home, termite, roof, and the sewer. And they can organize it. They can get people out quickly. They can try to make sure they get there about the same time. It's a convenience factor. And we use it for years, and we just refer people to them, and it's actually in our Slack channel, direct link. Anyway, having said that, what they do is they can get that sewer person out even before you make an offer, or even a regular inspector. But normally up in Washington State, that's kind of normal that you get inspectors to come out before you make an offer and just pay them for a full inspection. Down here, another product that they've developed along with us through our recommendation is a kind of a light inspection, meaning an inspector goes out and you go with them. They walk through the house. They kind of look at what they can without doing the full blown look at everything, every tiny little screw. And this way you can kind of be confident, hey, the place isn't falling apart. And I know there's going to be problems. And you get them back to do the finish of a full inspection later. But also, and I had never had this yet, but we may be able to get the sewer inspection out early. Who knows? So it's something to look into. It's something to push to make it more comfortable for you. But that sewer inspection now is getting to be just a requirement. We just found one up in Washington State. I mean, there was like toilets down there. It was insane. Parts of crap. I mean, so might blow the whole deal, but the sellers maybe want to do the whole work. So we'll see. So there you go. I think last but not least, let's talk about our competition, the other real estate agents who are out there. And most of them are out there still trying to get 2.5% of the sale price as their fee. They can, but it's all negotiable. Make sure your contracts are in writing. They have to be. We do non-exclusive. We don't understand anybody to sign an exclusive contract. So don't let them have you sign an exclusive contract. There's no reason. Because it's like getting married the first time you meet someone as opposed to dating with them first. Mm-hmm. So, date a little bit. You can sign multiple non-exclusive contracts too. So you can try a few agents at the same time. So we charge a flat fee of $9,750 at the close of escrow. And if there's any buyer broker fees left over, you get them. And we usually have you bury it in the price because that's the best way in a multiple bid situation to do that. So there's another tip for you. Know your numbers going in on what it's going to cost you. Hopefully it's significantly less than the buyer broker fee, and use that buyer broker fee to reduce the price, which nets the seller more money. It's all about the net, not the gross. Or you can go in and say, hey, I'll take the 2.5% after closing. And then in our case, we take out the $9,750 and then we wire you the rest. So it's the way we love doing it, and our clients love it. And it just makes sense because we do more work sometimes for a $500,000 deal than we do for a $9 million deal. Why do we care what the price of the house is? So there you go. Because Chattanooga.
Now that's in the Bay Area. What about Los Angeles? Does the Los Angeles market have any tips that are different, or is it pretty much the same as you?
Well, again, it's the school district. So super nice house for a couple of $1 million in Pasadena is going to get a lot of people to see it. Are they going to have 50 offers? No, but they might have 10. There can only be one winner. So it just depends. But there's some houses that lie around for a long time, single families even. Also be careful out there. There's a house that was for sale. The neighborhood was good. School district was good. The price was really good. We couldn't get any cooperation from the agent to contact us about anything. And then we realized they had just done a whole rehab and didn't pull any permits. So, yeah. So you don't want that house. No matter how good the work is, they could just come in and say, nope, take it all down. And so it costs you. We always say for open houses, on the houses you love, not like, love, go to the first open house in the very first minute on that very first day, because if there's 150,000 people there, then you know the price is going to go skyrocketing. If nobody's there, doesn't mean that it's not going to go higher, but it probably isn't going to go that high, and it might be manageable, and for some reason people don't want to see it. But they can come the next day, and nobody came on Saturday, everybody came Sunday. You just don't know, but it's kind of the best way to do it. Another thing, don't make yourself memorable to the listing agent. Don't make friends with them. If you have a question, be professional, just ask the question, and always say, I have a buyer broker, just want to know about the house. Does this come with the washer and dryer, something like that. Don't talk to them about pricing, because then once you do that, then they know you love the house. And if you end up being, there's only 3 bids and you're one of them, they're just going to jack the price up on you. Don't become friends with them. Don't contact them. Don't ask them for showings. Use your buyer broker. That's what they're there for, because they're, we're the wall between the two of you. And René's great with the agents and knows how to talk to them and evoke a lot of information, and they like to talk. So, but they'll tell us things differently than they'll tell you, and they'll also try to recruit you to be represented by them, and so they can do dual agency, which is a whole different topic, but that's a big no-no. Anyway, René, got anything to add there?
That not all agents understand contract laws, and then I think that there needs to be an overhaul in real estate licensing, because if an agent does not know the law, they should not be practicing. I mean, I have an agent right now, and the reason why I'm not really paying a lot of attention here is there's an agent who, because of this podcast, I decided to hire someone to do a showing today at 4:30, and they have a Supra, so it's a super box to go show, to allow agents to open the keys, not to open the lockbox for the
lockbox.
Yeah. And she's saying that she expected me to be at the showing because there's a buyer agency that I have, but that is irrelevant as to who shows a house. There needs to be a licensed agent. We're under contract, and we have 17 days to go see a property. Right. So she's saying that she's canceling the showing and that she's not letting us in. Well, the fact is that them doing that is actually breaking the law. It's breaking the contract.
Or they're breaking the contract.
Yeah. So it just creates a lot of issues when agents don't understand what the contract is.
Right? We got to send her to her broker.
Yeah.
And we got to contact the broker, and, they'll be all apologetic to us because we're right. 100%. Yeah, here's the thing that I've told people. Ask to see the first contract that someone wrote, an agent wrote for someone else. They can block out the name, but you want to see a contract that they wrote, not the one that they won in the end with all the attachments, just the initial contract. Okay, run it through ChatGPT or show it to us. We'll tell you what's wrong. I've had 3 or 4 contracts in the last couple of months. I mean, just things not filled in. My favorite one was this agent demanding 2.5% on the contract of a buyer broker fee. and having the buyer broker fee agreement, which she's supposed to attach, have nothing when it came to her compensation. It was blank. Hello, it's a contract. It's just pathetic. And the way people wrote contracts, they have no idea what they're doing. And the problem is you're at, one of these big agencies and you're just another agent. Be careful of these people. They just throw them out there and they say write contracts. They don't follow up with them. They don't train them right. They don't supervise them right. And it's going to hurt you as a buyer. I mean, we see it. We pride ourselves on getting contracts right. And when we see such sloppy, I mean, they're not contracts. They're so bad. It's just, okay, I could be rambling, but check your agent with the contract. And they're all, and you know what? They're all the same price, supposedly. I mean, I know some great agents who are, 2.5%ers, but whatever. And they're great agents. They write a contract. They know how to deal with people. They know, and they understand the transaction and blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. And then somebody who's brand new, but they all make 2.5%.
Yeah.
All right, I'm done. I'm off the soapbox.
Off the soapbox and drinking your water box. Well, there's some good tips in there hidden.
I think we got enough for this week. Yeah,
We got
talked enough.
We
got
can
some
always,
stuff.
you
We'll
can
wait
always
till
tell
next week.
podcast is almost over when, I think we've said what we
when
said.
And when
Said what we
René's
said.
dying.
This has been another episode of We Fix Real Estate, giving you real estate buying alpha. Bye, Fred.
Bye. Real estate buying house.